Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a lovely little and very early Tuesday morning over here in Helsinki, Finland. The last day from Helsinki, Finland for me as I'm finishing up the completion of my move. So, of course, this is going to be the last day actually without a face cam. My ugly mug, my rat face, and my balding head coming back pretty damn soon. Looking forward to that. And, of course, as always, want to be wishing you the best of the best, the happiest of the happiest Tuesdays. Yes. Happy Tuesday. Happy, what is it, Tequila Tuesday? Yes, there you go. Have a happy Tequila Tuesday in your life, and let's get into the live scene as we got plenty to talk about right here, right now, as we teleportation into the good old live scene, and there it is, Bitcoin in all of its green dildo glory. Absolutely just astonishing move that we saw yesterday on live stream. Now, we actually did hit that 8,200-ish target. I think we got up to 81.67.5 on Bitstamp, but close enough is close enough, $50 away. Well, that's good enough for me. Anyways, with the way that it's stated right now, Bitcoin has had a pretty intense last few days. Looking at the volume signature right over here, we see increasing volume to the upside. This is very impressive from a long-term perspective. It really does help solidify Bitcoin from a higher time frame perspective, as looking a lot more like what I'd expect to see on, coming off of major market cycle lows and actually, turning around the market cycle. So I am starting to really switch on and say that, now at this point, you could probably make the technical analysis argument just as strong as a fundamental argument that the low is in. But of course, I always do want to say that, hey, on a channel like this is for traders. So, with regards to the commentary, is the low in or not, or stuff like that. It's not really the focus here. The focus here is getting the moves and and making money. Not necessarily. Obviously, hedging lows and stuff is going to be a part of that, but that's not the full king caboodle. The big deal here is to catch most of the move and make consistent money over time. Anyways. With that stated, we do have the daily right now, and of course, I want to spend some time here. Moving averages, of course, I was saying this, hey, this is why I love moving averages, because they keep you in the trade, and more importantly, we got the golden cross right over here, a very simple thing, the green 55, the purple 200 cross the upside, gaining more and more momentum away from each other. That is divergence, getting even more aggressive, actually, as the green 55 gets very violent upslope, and not only that, but actually taking out the blue 377 exponential moving average on the way. So now we have again, another lower period getting above a higher period, which tells us about the overall trend. And this was another thing that I was kind of waiting, a while before actually saying some, specific about it. But the more and more moving averages that we get above this blue 377 exponential moving average, the more and more likely that this area becomes an extremely strong base right around about 5,400 to 5,500, we'll call it, from a long-term perspective. And if Bitcoin were to have a massive aggressive sell-off or anything like that, I would expect Bitcoin to have a phenomenal reaction in this range. Anyways, with that said, we do see that Bitcoin is still above all major moving averages. Of course, my rule is when we have a golden cross, I do not let go of my positions as long as we're above, especially the yellow 21 exponential moving average. But seeing as we're above all major moving averages, well, that just makes it even a smidge better. Of course, I forgot to bring up my Deribit account over here. Apologies about that. But let me just bring it on, as I do want to, it's always good to follow through with this one, but still holding on to my positions, just basically keeping my account long as I wait for things kind of resolve with my own living situations and moving situations. Don't really want to be having any sort of open deltas, although I certainly don't think that this is the worst time to be having positions. This has been a very opportunistic market recently, so take advantage of it while it lasts. Looking at daily Stokes, we do see daily Stokes still technically up, but they are losing momentum here. So this rally, I do believe, after hitting our final target, likely to we might pop up in the lower time frames, which we'll talk about in just a second. But overall, I don't believe that we're going to be making significantly higher highs from this area before having a more major pullback. Looking at our daily RSI, this is also going to be a little bit of an issue as well. Bitcoin needs to be making higher highs from here, otherwise we will initiate some bearish divergence on the daily dollar time frame, which typically does insinuate a test back down, at least in my experience, to the 21 exponential moving average. Now that's all the way down here at 62.50, but here's the thing: it's not just going to go straight from where we are right now down to that area. No, it's going to take some time, and as that time is taken, well, the 21 exponential has time to migrate up. So I'd imagine that by the time we actually do initiate any sort of major pullback off that, 21 exponential is probably going to be above 7,000 to be quite serious. So keep your eyes on that. But here's the thing. If Bitcoin fails to make higher highs, and if Bitcoin basically puts in a local high here, then yes, we'll have our first confirmed bearish divergence in a very long time. Everyone's calling bearish divergence the whole way up. No, that's not the right way to look at it, what we need to do is we need to compare local highs to each other, not just price action. Otherwise, you can become the divergence fuckboy, calling every little last move a bearish or bullish divergence when it's just not. It's a great way to get wrecked, and certainly a lot of people I've seen making that mistake. So it's not, it's very simple one not to make. So what I'm looking for here to kind of confirm that is if we have any sort of reversal-ish type dildo, be it a shooting star dildo, be it a doji dildo, be it a bearish engulfing dildo, whatever it is, with follow through, key important point, follow through. As you saw right over here, we kind of had a reversal dildo, but no follow through. That is when that bearish divergence gets initiated. That's when that bearish divergence gets, realized, and I'd be a very defensive player at that point in time, as I'd, at the very least be looking for a move probably back down to the lower 7,000s. And again, not going to happen overnight. We're looking at a daily, so it happens on a daily scale, but just given, just given the more forwards outlook for this. And let's go down into lower time frames because, well, that's what everyone wants to trade right now. And actually, this is one of the times where it actually quite is warranted to trade lower time frames. Bitcoin hitting our beautiful target right around, I had my target right here at 81.92 and a half. We got up to 81.90. Hey, not bad. Again, close enough is close enough. I do think that lower time frames do pop back up and test this area once again, right around 8,200. But I do not think that we actually take it out. Or if we do take it out, Bitcoin likely doesn't have too much more to go, in my opinion, before we play out a little bit more of a deeper consolidation to the downside. Looking at our hourly Stokes, we do see hourly Stokes still headed down, while price action has been just again going sideways. So that does tell me that we do want to have another stab at the top, just allowing the oscillator to reset. Again, it's the exact same thing that we saw right over here, where Bitcoin, was kind of slumping. People are calling this a head and shoulders. No, it's not a fucking head and shoulders. And continuation was the name of the game as we got reaccumulated. So looking at this area right here, we do have a smaller version of this, and I do think that we're about to make another pop towards the pop towards our highs. And hey, I will be wrong about this thing not making like significantly higher highs if we can close an hourly dildo above 8,200. If we can do that, then yes, I believe that the next target would be. Oh shit! At that point, maybe like 87 or 8,800. Just kind of going off the top of my head. Let me actually measure this out, or let's actually go back in time and see where the next target would be. I'd imagine somewhere. Yeah, it's gonna be somewhere over the rainbow. No, so not like that. But somewhere right around here. It looks like. Yeah, about 8,700. Yeah, so in mental maths, just about good on that. Should be matching up with a measure move off the lower time frames as well. As you do see, this is not something that you're going to see in like some sort of technical analysis book, but it does, in my experience, it has worked. We do see something like this, and if we apply that, to the top, where is it going to be pointing towards? Probably around that next resistance. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Sometimes technical analysis has confluences, and it does work. So yeah, if Bitcoin does close above this area, above sorry, I shouldn't say an hourly dildo above 8,200. I should say maybe a 2 hour at the very least, and preferably a 4 hour. If we can do that, then yes, I suppose I'd be targeting 8,700 at that point. Again, this rally is the rally that never stops. And of course, when you do get into kind of like your last blows of your parabolic attempts, that is when things, really a lot of things go off the radar as far as technical analysis goes. There's not really all that much to do. You can go off of past historical targets, all that good stuff. Yes, that does hold some weight, but in my experience, the best thing to do is kind of get out of the way and just get on the side of the trend. And that's why I've been essentially just riding my account value the last week or so. I've been, I was also busy with other life activities. If I was more active trading this, I think it's pretty obvious the areas that I've been looking at as that's what I'm happy to share, just the areas that I'm looking at. Of course, I can't make, calls for yourself because, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Of course, go fuck yourself if you're a regulatory agency listening out there. But at the same point in time, everyone has different perspectives, so I can only just share mine, and then you can take whatever you want from that and use it for yourself. Anyways, looking at 4 hour, we do see 4 hour Stokes still getting up there. Still got room to go though. Still definitely got room to go, and especially when we do get in these more prolonged bullish attempts, we can get really deep into this area, and that's completely fine from a stochastic perspective. Looking at 4 hour RSI, again, gonna be having some difficulties with creating some divergence here. That is a problem. So the next time that Bitcoin does confirm a local high, which it did try right here, as you can see, but no follow through. Again, no follow through, very critical. No bearish divergence confirmed. So Bitcoin's gonna get another attempt, is what it looks like to me. Looking at 4 hour Jewel, nope, it's actually taking out the pink right now. And again, whenever you get these very aggressive moves on the light blue, those are typically continuation plays, not counter trend plays. So 8 hour right over here. What do we have on the 8 hour? Yeah, we did print a nice little what do you want to call this, doji-ish type dildo, shooting star type dildo, whatever you want to call call it. But no follow through. If we were to take out 76.20, then yes, this would be considered a local high, and then we would consider this bearish divergence and probably set ourselves up for a test down into the high 6,000s, low 7,000s, down around here. But so far, still holding up above there. So I would give the nod to the bulls for the time being, just based off the short-term trend. We do see 8-hour stocks coming down, but this is with price action coming on all the way from over here. Bitcoin's rallied, Jesus Christ, more than $1,000. More than $1,000. So the medium time frames really do not get the momentum plays that well, in my opinion. I mean, you could also just look at this as resetting the oscillator, but I just don't think that they work all that. In my experience, they just don't work all that well in like the 8-hour, the 10-hour, and the 6-hour to a lesser extent. But every time frame below that and above that seem to be pretty damn good. 12-hour, especially 12 hours and 12-hour Stokes just crossed back up to the upside. In fact, they were down all the way through this area right here, just resetting, and now they get in another move. And this is also what we were speaking about yesterday. Just looking at the 12-hour, continuation was the name of the game, right? And you look at this massive volume pop on this last 12-hour dildo. We did about $5.5 billion on that dildo. Very powerful, very, 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 very good moves. I mean, this is sustained volume to the upside over a long period of time. Now, I've been talking about a lot of bullish things recently. I always want to, temper myself and say, hey, because I understand that, some of these ideas can be a little bit FOMO inducing. I just want to say, hey, when it comes down to it, when it actually comes down to it, remember that the market doesn't operate in like a one-day spree. It doesn't even operate in a 1-month spree. It's more like on a quarterly spree. And just because Bitcoin is having, some pretty aggressive moves to the upside right now, don't forget that it certainly can have these pretty nasty retracements as well, as we witnessed for just about a year straight over 2018. So again, looking at 12-hour, we will, be in danger of creating bearish divergence here if any sort of local high gets confirmed. But still, more damage can be done. It's not, it's actually technically not even really near being confirmed just yet. I mean, it looks like continuation to me. What else we got? Let's go over to the 2-day. 2-day going to be closing tonight. 2 days likely to close extremely, extremely well. A 2-day Stokes still headed up to the upside, still gaining momentum to the upside as well, and finding a lot of comfort within this region. And we do see that overall the Stokes have been finding comfort in the bullish control region. So again, it's kind of more testament to the fact that if this does retrace, I'll be looking for our higher time frame Stokes to come back down to this range, get picked up, and then we march on again. So just like it's a higher time frame type thing. Hey, next time we do have a little bit of a consolidation, that would be a nice little entry as far as I'm concerned. But check this out: 2-day RSI, no bearish divergence is going to be found here. There's no way to have bearish divergence here. I mean, anytime soon. And again, this is kind of just going off these time frames and calling a spade, right? We can't have bearish divergence anytime soon because we just made a higher high on the RSI, although it is getting quite high, so it's going to be very easy to create bearish divergence on whatever next attempt that we have. But that would imply that we have to first set in a local high here and then set in a local high, technically higher, as that's the only way that you can get bearish divergence. And where could that take prices? Again, this is why I say, the last kind of attempts on your parabolic moves, whether it's to the upside or the downside, there's nothing to do except for get out of the way of the train. You do not want to be taking the counter trend trade anytime soon, in my opinion. Again, this is not financial advice, but in my experience, I've found that it's not a good idea to try to fade any of these moves until you actually have full on confirmation of counter trend beginning. Looking at 2-day, well, we already looked at all that. Let's go to the 3-day. 3 days going to be closing. When does 3-day close? I believe tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So here's the thing. If the 3-day can actually close above this white 200 simple moving average, that'll be incredibly bullish as well. It'll set in a nice base right at the 7,000-ish level. So if Bitcoin did have a little bit of retracement, I would be looking for a massive bounce there from a higher time frame structural standpoint. But of course, this, we still got another 2 days of price action to go. It could very well easily be that Bitcoin closes this next 3-day dildo below the 200 simple. If that were to happen, I would consider that a rejection, and that would initiate likely a retracement down into the lower 6,000s. So again, I know a lot of people were watching this because I was pretty vocal over the weekend as using this for managing a trade. The real trade was to the upside, right? But remember that these 3-day dildos, they operate in 3-day dildo time frames. So if you are going to be trading this sort of thing, you have to realize that the signal is going to be 3 days apart. So a lot of damage can be done. You just don't know what's going to happen intraday variability. So again, it's to be decided on the 3-day dildo time frame. More importantly, we do see 3-day Stokes actually still headed to the upside. Again, another little bit of a warning signal, just because they don't like to stay up here for too long, although they have been here for quite some time. But still gaining momentum to the upside is quite powerful. 3-day RSI just making new highs and new highs and new highs. Again, like, more so than the 2-day. We're not going to have any sort of bearish divergence there. And also I want to talk about this on the Jewel, which the Jewel did have a decent sell signal right here, right? You had red in the background. You had the light blue oscillator getting into the critical zone, and then it got a negative slope. Well, that only produced about a 11 to 12% move, about 11.5% move, right? Which is decent, but it's certainly not comparable to what we've seen in the past off this one. When we see a signal over here, it's about 67% down move. When we see a signal over here, this one's about a 35% down move. When we see a signal right over here, 35% down move. You get the idea, right? The other ones are typically between 30 and 40%. And right now, on that past one, we did not have a pretty nasty sell-off. Well, here's the thing. Look at how deep these light blues got into the critical zone on those more critical ones, right? Where they're having a much more extended down move. Over here, we just barely dipped our toesy woesies into it. It doesn't really, it doesn't really account for all that much. We only have one other example of this actually happening in Bitcoin's history, where it got very shallow into this region, but also got the red in the background and got a negative slope. And that was right over here in November of 2016, where Bitcoin actually had a pretty similar, reaction, about 11.5%, 12% down move off that. But look what happened after that. We got picked up by the light pink and marched up into the more critical zone, and that set us up for a pretty nasty retracement right here. A pretty damn nasty sell-off, actually, of almost 35%. So what am I looking at right over here? Well, I think that we're probably gonna have something similar play out, where we see the light blue oscillator get marched up into the more critical zone around the 88 to 90-ish marker, and then we're gonna play out a pretty nasty, 30 to 40% retracement. But keep this in mind. This is a 3-day digital time frame, so each and every tick is 3 days worth of price action, and it's gonna take at least 2 to 3 more ticks to get us into this range if we just shoot up straight from here. So that's that'd be another week to week and a half of price action likely to implied to the upside, just to get us in that range where we can actually have one of those nastier sell-offs. But it is on my mind's eye, and I do have some alerts in there. So, and I will be sharing that signal, of course. This is and I feel like I should clarify this as well. This is not the right way to be using the Jewel. If you have access to the Jewel, this is not the right way that I use it on any other time frame except for this on Bitcoin. Any other time frame, there's a very specific setup that's all included in the video section, so make sure you watch that. It's very, 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 very clear, and very, 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 very important that you understand exactly the right way to use it, because it was specifically designed to be used in a very specific way, not in the way that I just kind of showed. This is just a way that I found on the 3-day digital time frame that has seemed to work and work extremely well in the past. I mean, again, it's actually called the bottom of 2019 and the bottom of 2015 very well, and then called all these tops pretty damn well as well. So again, just wanted to get that out there. Going over here to the weekly. Weekly, again, looking ever so better, actually. We do see from a higher time frame perspective that green 55 crossing the upside of the cyan 89 exponential. We do see a bullish cross between the red and the yellow, just a lower period above a higher period. And overall, just from a historical standpoint, the last time that we actually saw one of these was right over here. This cross happening right around 275 before moving on to 20,000, and then the other cross was right over here, the 55 and the 89, the cyan and the green, which was at about $320. Leading all the way to 20,000 as well, and we got one of those, and we're about to get the second one just in a few on the next tick, barring any sort of major sell-off back down to 5,500, which I just don't think is very likely. But look at this. Remember when we spoke at the beginning of this video that everything around this 5,400 level from the daily perspective, the 377, essentially the golden cross right now as it migrates its way up. And look at this. We do have the green 55, the cyan 89 exponential, and then also this red 50 simple moving average, which if you look historically, this one also has had some good implications for Bitcoin. Everyone was looking at it back over here because it rejected price action, expecting the same for Bitcoin. Nope, we took it out, and that was a very powerful move. And you can see over here when Bitcoin actually took it out in October of 2015, that was the beginning of your massive bullish momentum as well. So to me, if Bitcoin were to turn back down, I would be looking for a massive move down, or sorry, I'd be looking for a massive reaction anywhere around 5,400 to 5,500, where all of these moving averages kind of converge on each other, which does tell me that this is a very strong structural base from a long-term standpoint for Bitcoin. As long as Bitcoin's above it, I would run with the assumption that it's generally bullish. As long as if Bitcoin breaks it to the downside, then we can talk about targets down into the low 4,000s and high 3,000s. But right now, Bitcoin's nowhere near that range. In fact, look at this. I mean, looking at the weekly, we're we came about $200 shy, $300 shy of taking out this prior high right here in July of 2018. That would have been very impressive. Weekly Stokes still headed up, still headed north. Jesus Christ, they've been north for forever, but all good. Just over there with the Starks, we see the monthly right over here. Monthly is looking good as well. Let me take off the 50 simple and put on the 20 on the 10 simple. There we go. You can actually see the 50 simple rounding that price action as well, though. That was kind of nice. But overall, this I always say this sound, but I know it's fucking annoying. But when I was a professional trader on the floor of New York Stock Exchange Arc, I'd use the monthly chart and the 21 exponential to judge if stocks were generally bullish, generally bearish. Well, if you're above it, generally bullish; below it, generally bearish. Bitcoin took out the 21 exponential moving average on its first test actually last month in April, and now we're just seeing continuation on top of it. So again, when I speak about these things, this is why I pay a lot of attention to them. It doesn't happen immediately either. We obviously didn't see about a $3,000 move happen in the span of one day, but over the course of a couple weeks, we did see this move happen, and that's what I'm talking about. Is hey, when we're looking at these higher time frames, you have to adopt a higher time frame mindset. But this one here, just a great example of how patience can really pay off. We do see monthly Stokes crossing back up to the upside. We do see monthly RSI handily taking out the exponential here. These to me are very, 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 very important things from a technical standpoint, and do say that and would suggest that the overall trend, is I mean, pretty much everything's bullish. Everything's bullish except for the fact that we just don't have higher highs and higher lows on a monthly. Everything else is bullish. As far as monthly oscillators go, they're bullish. As far as any other time frame below a monthly, bullish. That has been the case ever since about 5,500. I guess at the start of this month in May. But overall, you get my points. It's just kind of a technicality, and because of the nature of these charts and the long-term look, it's just going to take, time to begin with, just by the nature of it. But technically speaking, yes, it's not until we get above this hump, either close a monthly above 7,700 or just take out 8,500 to the upside, then we'll set a higher high. And then at some point we'll have to set a higher low, make everyone, hold their breath for a little bit of time. But, remember that these markets, again, they take their time. So when Bitcoin does come back down and set a higher low, again, it's gonna take some wherewithal, because it'll be the first actual down move after basically 4 months of straight up. Pretty fucking intense. So, yep. Anyways, going back into Bitcoin, lower time frames here. Let's see. Did we cover everything that I want to say on the lower time frames? Yeah, I suppose if we put back on the drawing tools, you do see that we have a very obvious support trend line right here, right around 7,800-ish even. I'd be looking for this to be the support. I'd be leaning to the upside as long as we are above this area. If Bitcoin does violate 7,200, or sorry, not 7,200, 7,800, then I'd be looking for a move back down to the 75 to 75.50-ish range right here. And if that area fails, then I'd be looking for a move actually all the way down into this range, right around 72.50. Let's do it right there. Should match up with each other. Now, I think that's less likely. I think it's more likely that we get the upside, but those are the those are the triggering areas that I would be cognizant of. Now, of course, if Bitcoin smashes through 72.50, then we're going to come all the way down, back towards 6,800. That's a pretty big pivot point as well. But my point is that, hey, for right now, I would be, I'd actually be cautiously bullish here. Looking for another move back up to test this region, and then we'll kind of figure it out from there. But remember, it's not until we actually break 8,200 to the upside where I start, targeting another $500 move, I suppose. Jesus Christ, man, this thing is just powerful, very powerful. Let's go check out the other top shitcoins. We got Mr. Buter all over here. Nice. 212 hit, but I think my target's a little bit higher, around 218, 212 or 212 and a half to 218. I mean, pretty fucking close. I do think that this one has a little bit more to go, though. I do think that it actually will formally stab that area. We do see daily Stokes still angled to the upside, still gaining momentum to the upside. Got plenty of room to go. Daily RSI looks fine to me. Yes, at some point we're gonna have to deal with some divergences, but not anytime soon, I don't think. Let's look at the 2-day. 2-day, same thing. Actually, 2-day has even more room to go. It's the weekly that I'm concerned with. Weekly looks good to me as well. Weekly looks very good, actually. Again, very likely that we do, take that next leg up. I mean, we pretty much already have. This thing got all the way up to 212 and a half. So my first target, again, is 218 and a half, and then 233, a little bit more north. But overall, looks fine to me, and I'd be bullish on Mr. Buterol as long as we are above this 194 pivot, which I do think that this one looks bullish to me. Most of the alts look bullish to me actually, but remember this is the phase of the market cycle where we're going to find out what the alts are made out of. The strong alts get to move first. They get to move first and the fastest. Then the weak alts, they will move last. So keep an eye on who's moving first, who's moving last, because that does imply relative strength. Looking over here on GDEX for Mrs. Litecoin, getting back up to our prior highs right around 95 bucks target, and I do think that we hit actually our next target somewhere right around 109 to 110, 111 in this region right over here. Again, looks constructive, looks decent, looks strong like Mr. Buterol. A little bit weaker, I suppose, in relation, but overall, weekly looks fine to me. We do see weekly Stoics headed down while price has been floating up. I do like that setup, and I do think that we do make overall another attempt towards this region. Going off the lower time frames, I'd essentially I'd be bullish as long as we're above 84.5. Is this 84.5? Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, 84.5. And if we do break 84.5, then yeah, we probably come back down to 77 bucks. But overall, I think that that's less likely to happen. It's more likely that we'd actually head on north. I forgot to check out CMEs. Let's go back over to CMEs. CMEs trading at a massive premium right now. Actually, 80.65 versus 79.85 on spot. Again, CME Stokes over here going to be getting way up there, losing a little bit of momentum as you can see, but still I want to see them actually cross down before I start taking real positions. Looking at daily RSI, we will be having some bearish divergence here. If we can actually confirm a local high, that'll be pretty nasty actually. We do see daily Jewel getting way up in there. Usually we actually have never seen it getting this high in this region. Very, very interesting, but again, that's not a signal in and of itself. There's a very specific setup, and that is not it. Let's go over to the weekly. Again, we had a massive gap up. When you have a massive gap up like this, yes, gaps almost pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, in traditional markets have always been filled. But remember that the timing of that fill is variable, and the bigger the gap, the less likely that it gets filled, immediately. And this one, I don't think that we're coming back down and testing this anytime soon. Actually, this is all the way down at 6,400. So at some point, Bitcoin will come back down at 6,400, but that doesn't mean it's happening anytime soon, man. And I'd say that because this gap was quite literally about 13% up. Yeah, probably not happening anytime soon. Not this week. Not next week. Probably not even the week after that. Yeah, it was pretty fucking aggressive, man. Very rarely do you see something like that. But very impressive. Let's look at Mr. Cardano. How's Mr. Cardano doing? And actually, at this point in the market, actually probably is better to be looking at Satoshi pairings, just because Bitcoin is bullish, right? Because Bitcoin is bullish, you want to be looking at the asset versus Bitcoin now, just because the asset versus Bitcoin is going to give you a representation of would you be better off just holding Bitcoin or trading the shitcoin, right? So Cardano right now, still pretty fucking weak, holding on to our lower support at 930-ish area. Through tooth and nail, but I don't like what I see here. I also wouldn't want to be short this thing either, but do I think it bounces here? Yeah, it probably bounces here. We have some pretty good bullish divergence coming off the lows now. I do think that we bounce here and probably take another stab back up to 1050, maybe even 1150. I don't think that you're going to make lower lows from this area just yet, but after a little bit of a bounce, then we'll kind of figure it out if how weak or strong this one is. Let's go look at GBTC. GBTC major leg up as well. As you'd expect, over to $10. Not really anything interesting to look at over here, just because this one's following. In my opinion, it's not leading, but it's following. But yeah, following through with it. So everything working as far as Bitcoin to the upside. BNB cone taking another leg up, as we spoke about yesterday, towards that $23 target. And getting held back a little bit here, but I do think that it continues on. My rally will continue on. We got the daily still getting erect, still getting very powerful, actually fresh across the upside. Moving averages look like bullish consolidation to me. I do think that this one does try higher over time, back over to the prior high at $25 and probably beyond actually. Looking at the weekly is a very good reaction off the 10 simple. This one's bullish. Zcash taking a leg up. Again, definitely one of the weaker looking ones, but this one's going to get to join the rest of the party. And I think that we're going to hit that 67.5 target right over here, and probably even take that up and march on towards 76.5 over time. But this one's weak. This one's relatively weak. Bcash hitting our $400 target to the T actually. 407 right over here. I had 406.98. Again, close enough is close enough. And I feel like I'm saying these things to be arrogant. No, this is not the intention. My intention is so that you can do these things for yourself and you can see that over time how these things work. And then you can be autonomous, man. You can do whatever the fuck you want once you can, once you can figure this out. And I do think that Bcash does have an initial reaction here, but ultimately we do try higher. Definitely one of the stronger alts for sure. Weekly looks good to me. Weekly looks like it wants more. $500 would be in the cards after a little bit of consolidation in this area. We're about to get a bullish cross here. Bcash looks good. Tron Cash, certainly on the weaker side as far as the market goes, but going to catch wind of the overall market strength, and 2.7 is going to be my target. Neocash going to be hitting $11. So it's going to smash $11. And again, I shouldn't say things like that. It's very likely to smash $11, but this is revving up to me. Again, another example of a weaker cone. But I do think that it hits $11 and beyond over time. 12 and a quarter. EOS, one of the stronger ones for sure. If we can break 590, then the next target I'd be looking at is all the way towards 669. Yeah, again, certainly one of the stronger ones. Looks like it wants a lot more to me. Let's see what else we got. Mr. Ripple Munipples. Holy fucking moly, man. So I think I had a target of 35 cents yesterday. That one got smashed. This one's gonna go. This one's gonna go, man. Nothing wants to go. Yes, this was a bearish pattern, but we're about to break a bearish pattern to the upside. This one's. We can talk about targets to 40 cents. We can talk about targets to 40 to 44.5 cents. It's this one wants to turn around here. This was a trap. We're going up. As soon as we took out this trend line right here, that was your signal. That's why I was bullish on it yesterday, and I'd be bullish on it today. I do think that this one tries higher over time. Probably stops a little bit at 40 cents, but over time works higher, back towards 50 cents, from a weekly standpoint. Monero Cash, what's he doing? Again, a stronger alt, I'd say. Hit our $87 target. Nice, not bad. Let's go to a weekly. Yeah, weekly looks good as well. I do think that it actually crawls its way back up to 87.5 bucks, and then we try again, and probably actually do even break it. And I do think that this one wants to find its way towards 97, 98. Probably just $100 really. Stellar Cash hitting our 11. Did we hit 11.5 cents? Nope, my target's 11.5 cents on this one. We hit 11 cents, 11.25 cents. That's pretty good, but I do think that this one does try all the way up to about 12.25 fully. What else we got, baby? What else we got? Spies. Yeah, we got traditional markets. So this is where things get a little more interesting, because traditional markets sold off pretty fucking hard yesterday. Now, this is all news and event driven with, the tariffs and the trade wars and all that good stuff. And so, again, very difficult market to trade right now as far as traditional markets goes. I would say that, this would imply that we have downwards continuations towards 270, 278 monthly support, I'd say. But here's the thing is that monthly now looks like a hunt to the upside, institutional order flow, and then slamming it down. So to me, that is actually quite bearish. The fact that we made a higher high this month and then we are essentially engulfing the prior dildo, that is very fucking bearish. And yes, we can talk about monthly support right around 278, but ultimately, I do think that we're going to see actually a lot more down on this one. Looking at the overall setup, this is very suspect, because also this relates to Bitcoin, right? As Bitcoin has been trading, relatively in lockstep with traditional markets. If we kind of go over the history of this, go into like a daily perhaps. No, let's go to a weekly. Yeah, we can see that Bitcoin and traditional markets were kind of they were both in bull markets from 2013 to 2014, 2014 to 2015, both in a slump, as you can see right over here, and then in the beginning of like 2016, they both took off for a parabolic run to the upside, putting in tops pretty much within about a month of each other, then popping back down over here, putting these lows, then popping back up, doing the exact same thing, popping back down, and then Bitcoin goes sideways, SPY goes into an upwards consolidation. Then they both crash gloriously at the same time, end of 2018, and ever since then they've pretty much put in their lows at the same time, and Bitcoin's been up, SPY's been up. But SPY has now started to really turn down, and this is a full-on confirmation, in my opinion, of a reversal. And we do see bearish divergence on a weekly. We do see weekly Stochs crossing down. We do see weekly Jewel also kind of signaling a weak sell as well. And overall, my point is that if we have seen it in the past, the past 5-6 years of trend, history history that these two have been a lot more correlated to each other than not. And the fact is that SPY is turning down right now. Now, they don't move at the exact same time, but this would imply that I'd be a little bit cautious on Bitcoin. Just because this has been the trend. Now, could it be that we see decoupling? Do we see divergence between the two? Yes, that's a possibility as well. But it's too early to say that that is a confirmed thing. If we see Bitcoin going to a confirmed uptrend, making higher highs, especially above, for a little bit more sustained time, maybe like another 3 to 4 weeks, and a few more higher highs on the way, like take out 8,500, then 9,000, and in SPY still heading down, then we can say yes, they've decoupled, and there's no longer a relation to be made between the two. But for right now, I think it's still too early to say, and this would be a little bit more daunting information as we do see traditional markets heading down while Bitcoin is heading up right now. So again, Bitcoin a little bit of a laggard perhaps. Going back on into our Bitcoin charts. Start to wrap this bitch up because I do need to finish packing. But overall, Bitcoin reconsolidating this area right over here. I'd say the range as far as an hourly goes is between 78.25 and 81. Let's just call it 8,200 to the upside. I do think that this does want to give another stab towards that 81.50 to 8,200-ish level, and then we'll kind of reassess from there. If this area does get taken out, of course, 8,200, then I would be targeting a move technically 8,700, 86, 8,700-ish area. There will be a prior high to deal with that 8,500, obviously from last August, I believe it was. So, that's going to be a point of contention as well. But hey, the trend right now is your friend, and the trend is not changed in the past few months. So pretty fucking good, man. Pretty good action from Bitcoin. Lots of opportunity in this market right now. Of course, to the downside, if we do break 78.25 to the downside, I'd be looking at a move towards 75.50, and if that area breaks, I'd be looking for a move down to 72.50. I do think that the upside is a little bit more likely here, at least to test 71.50 not 71.50, but 81.50 to 8,200, and then we'll kind of reassess from there. I don't feel strongly about this area being broken. I just feel strongly about it popping back up, and then we'll kind of reassess. So again, I'll be off for the rest of the day. No live stream tonight, as I'll be getting internet and all that kind of stuff situated. Got to set up my whole studio and whatnot. But really looking forward to it, as I think the upgrade's going to be worth it. So again, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you on this lovely Tuesday morning. I'll be back on tomorrow with some more video and live stream analysis, assuming that everything goes well. I do want to wish you well as well. And with that said, take care and see you soon.